Hello, can you guys hear me? Confirm if voice. Just trying to I'm doing some tweets about the stream. Video, it cuts in and out the audio, but you, G-Meister, you can hear me. Is the audio messed up for anybody else? I don't think I've changed anything really. I have this super expensive mic. That would be really disappointing if the mic is messed up. Okay. New character, alright. Be a girl. I haven't actually played the entirety of story mode in a really long time, but maybe a year ago, like from start to finish. So this is gonna be interesting. It shouldn't be any trouble though. I hope. I don't know if I even like created a character since Vilja changed all the color palettes. I always play random, but they look good. Hey, congratulations on beating Furious Giga Slime, G-Meister. It's a goddamn pain in the ass. Normal hard. Since I'm gonna be talking and stuff, I'll stick with normal. I'm gonna get my ass kicked if I play hard. at least during the later stages of the game. I don't know if I should play the cutscenes. I'm not gonna do any voices or anything because I suck at doing voices, so. I don't mind. Oh, that's that I haven't fixed the bug. Where Dad grows jazz hands. I think it occurs because we've added some like new flavor animations to the Dad character in the dragon cutscene, and they kind of mess with the old code for this cutscene. I think it's like way back he used to be. He was a totally different sprite, and he had 2 arms, and he had like this glass wipe animation. And I think the digging for gold animation took its place. I'm just gonna skip this cutscene. There's a lot of great dialogue in this game, and I don't have anything to do with the dialogue. It's all Teddy and Vilja. So, but I think a lot of the dialogue is super hilarious. So, especially later on, I'm gonna read pretty much all of it. It's gonna take a while for me probably to like warm up to the idea of just talking about random stuff. So if you guys have any questions, just fire away. Some newly added decorations. They're newly added, but they weren't there from the start. Skip this as well. I'm not playing, since I'm streaming also, my computer is not the best, so it's there's always this tad bit of lag, so I think I'm not playing in 60 FPS, or not even close. This might be 30 actually. Like the jumping side post, this was actually when we first showed the game on our first like game conference or whatever you want to call it at school. It's actually a friend of ours that suggested that we would add like signs with only visuals, because there's so much text in the cutscenes and stuff. That we don't want to bombard people with text, so we like the idea of keeping it like me personally. I love keeping it visual as much as possible. Out of the way. We talked about it when William made them actually. I mean, there could be ways like behind the mountains that you can't see, but or it's just like bird people living there. I don't know. That's the expansion. Bag. Bag is by far my favorite character in the game. I think most people tend to agree. And it's all thanks to like Teddy's dialogue. He's doing such an amazing job with it. Although like lately, with characters such as Luke being more fleshed out, I've grown to love Luke as well. But Bag is just he's the star of the game. Actually, been thinking it would be cool to make like a separate, maybe not an expansion, but like maybe a super small game, of course, but a game where you could actually maybe play as back or just learn his origin story, like his origin story. Because like some things will be answered just in this game, but he's such an ancient artifact that he feels like he's been around for thousands of years. Actually, I forgot about this. It was added rather recently, like the toy wand. Just because you get the one-handed weapon, the two-handed weapon, and we kind of screwed magic users early on because because they wouldn't get any magic items until like after you beat the trials. I don't know if we talked about adding a wand to the waiting room for the trials as well, but I don't know if we've done that. Like I said, I haven't played the story mode in such a long while. We're only focusing on playtesting the newest things, obviously. So, and now that the game had like before, like 2 years ago, I would like replay the game regularly just because the game was so short. But now it just takes too much time. Okay, that's good to know. I tend to say this all the time, but it's funny how little stuff I actually know about the game or stuff I forget about the game. Just so focused on the stuff we're working on at the moment that I get flustered. I don't know how I'm gonna choose the skills. I'm just gonna take whatever I want. I always tend to like, I want to get the chat to choose it for me, or I use the random stuff. The random stuff is fun, but I'm just gonna go with what I feel like doing. What do I feel like doing? Static touch, have new sound effects, so it's pretty cool. I want to play with that, but maybe not as a main skill. I always like Spirit Slash. Plant Summon. Yeah, I read it. There's some cool ideas there. I don't want to play the plant at the moment. Like, there's nothing wrong with the plant, really. It's just such a passive skill. And that's not my favorite type of gameplay. Maybe I should check out talents instead. What do I want to play? I'm a huge fan of Spirit Slash. Actually, at the moment it's my favorite skill, I think. Yeah, it's a super good. Like if you're passively grinding, Summer Plant is amazing. Especially once you reach like silver level and stuff. Should I go Spirit Slash? I'm gonna go Spirit Slash. What the hell? And I'm gonna go talent. Yeah, it's overpowered for sure. It's so easy to use as well. I've already I'm starting late because I've done all the working already. I just feel like I tend to just end up talking so much smack, and I don't get much stuff done when I do the working streams. Not that I'm gonna stop doing them, but I've had a ton of stuff to do before I go home for Christmas. So I really wanted to focus. I'm just gonna go second wind. I'm playing second wind because I like to, you know, have a lot of EP, and it's easy to combine Spirit Slash with just regular attacks as well. What's up, Antar? Oi, oi. Mumrik, my friend. It's weird. Graphical bug. I don't know how many people actually that actually know about this cave. If you spectate people, like we've been to game conferences and stuff and exhibited a game, and almost unanimously people just miss it. So I'm not even sure how many people know about it. Although playing games at like exhibitions and stuff, especially when you play games like, you know, RPGs, you tend to get stressed out and just go for it. So you can't really take too much feedback away from spectating people playing in exhibitions. Just doing some grinding. Funny to look at these enemies, since they were like some of the first things I animated. I did the main character first, like the sprite poses, and I did some running animations. They've been changed since then though, because the first running animations were horrible. But the enemies must have been like 4 years since I made them. And they're still like, I don't think they're bad or anything. I still think they hold up, but if I redid them today, they would be way better. Or at least to me, they would have a different feel to them. Comparing my early animations to my more recent animations, my early animations tended to be way more like smooth. They have more frames and less. I don't know how to say it really, but between frames, they wouldn't pop as much, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but I just like animations that have, like, I think people do overall as well, like if animations have a bit of pop to them, they're more like pleasing to the eye. And not to say that the animations I do now, it's not like they're not smooth. Like the amounts of frames I use for animations are wickedly high compared to most other pixel games, and maybe even like other 2D games, I'm not even sure. looking at the chat. I'm losing myself in the grind as always. It's funny to look when you watch people do let's plays and at exhibitions. It's kind of hilarious how many people get stuck at the very first area, the first area you encounter enemies. I've seen so many people get stuck there for, 20 minutes, 15 minutes, just grinding away. Which kind of warms my heart, since the game is all about grinding anyway. Watch this cutscene. Like I said, I'm not gonna do any voices. I don't really enjoy people. Like, I enjoy people like Let's Players doing voices when they're actually good at doing voices, but it feels like it's become this thing where everybody's doing voices, even though they're not super good at it, but they feel almost obligated to do them. I'm not even gonna try. Back for the rescue. Funny also, since the main character is mute, Bag kind of becomes like a voice of the character, which I think most people enjoy because Bag is such a badass. But at the same time, you don't feel like you're actually Bag, like you're forced to be an asshole character because Bag is kind of an asshole. Yeah, that seems to be a problem for a lot of people. But it's funny when people forget. Also, it's not a big deal. And it's not like I'm trying to talk down on people that are doing voices when they're doing Let's Plays. It's just my personal preference. Bag plushes, that would be awesome. Any type of plushes, really. We've been dreaming about plushes since we first started the game, like slime plushes, rabbit plushes. We're all super big fans of, random merchandise, so bag plushes would definitely be a dream. It's just, it's definitely not viable though at the moment, and I don't even know if it's viable once the game is finished. Production costs and shipping stuff. This is the best piece of dialogue in the game, or one of the best. There's so many good ones, but this is so funny. I like it how the Black Ferrets. The game is super kid friendly, really overall. But Villia's character always manages to sneak in some super horrific lines whenever she appears. Oh, I've been leveling up quite a bit. Totally forgot. Man, she's so slow. Crushed. A real live dream. I sure hope I don't hope so, but what do I know? I really want to talk about some design decisions, but it's hard for me to articulate stuff in English when it comes to game design. But it's obvious, like, also there's not that much to talk about when it comes to Villia. The Villia boss fight, it's so simple. Like, there's an obvious like way to beat her. Like, it's like once you realize how to beat her, yeah, you know exactly what you're going through. But it's interesting though, watching people play her for the first time. Some people can get stuck on her just because her normal attacks are so powerful. They're so fast. Like, there's no, if you don't know the pattern, there's no chance you're ever gonna avoid it or block it, which is kind of funny, because that's not really a design decision. It's a mistake from our part, since she was the first boss we ever did. We were pretty green when it came to boss design, so I just ended up doing like an attack animation that I thought looked cool, and we just stuck with it since. Like, I've talked about, like, with Teddy and stuff, about changing her regular attacks to be more, you know, be easier to avoid. But he's been kind of reluctant on doing that, which I kind of like. I understand it, because that forces players to learn her, like, oh, you gotta avoid her when she dives and then she gets dizzy. Because if her normal attacks were easy to avoid, people would probably just tank her and never realize the pattern, which I think is it's good to establish to players that a lot of bosses have like a proper way of beating them, or however you wanna say it. Yeah, exactly, Antar. Luke. I don't know how many of you were around because for the longest time Luke didn't like greet you when you entered Evergrind. It was actually the commentator in the arena, Plot, would welcome you and like introduce the sit-in and stuff. But we changed that because we wanted to make Luke a more fleshed out character, or like a character you would actually care about, since he's supposed to be your best friend and everything. And I think it's a good choice, because I feel Luke is one of the characters at the moment, like he's one of the more, even though he's not like a deep character, like his character traits are that he's super strong but he's super stupid, but still you really like Luke as a player. Or at least I hope most people do. I know, like, I've seen some people are mad at him because he's so strong, but I think overall people like him. That's super cool to hear, Quadfather, because that's obviously what we're going for. Like, we want the game to be difficult, but not difficult in a frustrating way. And I want to watch this cutscene just because I love. I think Marino's music it's one of my favorite tunes in the game. When we sent it to Riley, the dude that's making all the music for the game, we told him, we sent him the Garage theme from Pokemon Red and Blue, and told him to like, yeah, do something like this, and I think he actually captured the essence of that song super well. I don't know how well you can hear the music actually. or like the in-game sounds overall. But it's very Gary, this song, which I like. No in-game sounds? Okay, hold on. I think they're supposed to be there. Can you hear them now? I've adjusted the volume a bit. I'm just gonna keep playing. You let me know if you can hear it. There's a bit of delay on the stream, so that animation where she pulls up the little, I don't know what to call it, the paper clipboard, and pulls it away was a super hard animation for me to do. It's funny. I tend to struggle with the. I wouldn't call it funny though, but when you're doing pixel art, super subtle movements are always the trickiest to achieve. Just because you can only like the least you can move is 1 pixel at a time. If you're not doing sub-pixeling, which I'm not super good at, but I'm using it more and more to some degree. Look, here it is. You're right, G-Meister. I talk about some stuff here as well. This dude, Morgan, he was supposed to have like a super major role. A super major, but he was supposed to be like one of the characters you would stumble upon throughout the game. He was like, as he is, he was supposed to be like Marino's, I don't know, like henchman, and would just follow him around. And you were actually supposed to battle him and Marino in the first Marino battle. But I don't know, I don't remember exactly why, but I think it's because we wanted to focus more on like a smaller cast of sub characters and try to make them more fleshed out, just because of the length of the game overall. I talked about this. I wrote a forum post about this sucker Lin May. It's the same thing with her. She was supposed to be like a reoccurring important character that you would have to fight her and she would steal stuff from you. But it ended up being the same there. We decided to cut her out just to focus on the voices disappeared. Focus on a smaller cast of characters and make them feel more alive. I'm so used to just fishing in arcade mode. It's weird fishing in sword mode where you actually have to wait for the fish to bite. There's also a fun little anecdote. Way back, like when we were in Desera, we didn't actually have a fishing challenge. We had a treasure hunt challenge where you had to there were a ton of crates and barrels stacked all over the arena, and you had to find 3 or 4 treasure maps and dig up 3 or 4 treasures. But since treasure hunting is not a major part in the game, we decided to change it for fishing, which is funny because at some point we're going to change out the fishing part for a crafting part instead, because crafting seems more important than fishing. But I don't know when that will happen. And it would probably be something similar where you had to destroy crates and find stuff and you had to craft something. And it makes more sense as a tutorial because you never get a proper tutorial to crafting, and crafting can be super powerful. And as the game goes on, it will become more and more powerful. All the challenge, I don't know. I think the pacing feels weird. Feels like the trials would go on for too long. I don't know. I like having it like just 3 challenges. Seems fine to me. It feels right to me. Mr. Plot. I don't know how many realize that Plot is actually a reference to Sean Plot, the StarCraft 2 commentator. I think I've talked about this on some stream before, but Sean Plot, Day 9. This is also a funny anecdote. When Teddy is the one designing all the block puzzles, because he knows how to handle the engine and stuff. And when like the first prototype of the puzzle challenge, this puzzle had I think it had 1 extra block placed somewhere, which made this puzzle extremely hard. It was super hard. Maybe it had 2 blocks. I don't know. It was just like a simple change that made this puzzle super hard. Like I think the first time I tried to solve it, it took me like half an hour or something. So we decided to change that around. I do think Teddy I think he kept the original design, and we can use it somewhere else when we want to be nasty towards the players. Yeah, Day 9's playthrough with, I don't remember her name now, but it was super good, and he seemed to really enjoy the game, which is cool. I've been a big fan of both Day 9 and like his brother Tasteless for such a long while. Puzzles made by the community, yeah, why not? I know we talked about removing puzzles altogether, but yeah, why not? As long as we just have to sit through them and decide the difficulty. But yeah, why not? Seems like a smart move. I think like the obvious problem with the puzzles is that there's so few of them that you learn them eventually, which if you made a shit ton of puzzles, that wouldn't be a problem. So what's up, my bee friend? Slay 'em all. Yeah, like we're gonna add more stuff like that at some point. Just takes time. We're actually working on, not related to arcade mode, but for the story mode, for Mount Bloom, we've actually decided to. I still think this animation is pretty good. When Giga Slime grows large, even though it's super old, I still enjoy it. I'm kind of happy with a lot of the Giga Slime animations overall. The hammer and the saw. Oh. Whoops. I think Giga Slime is the only boss in the game where the camera is not locked and it's played on a much bigger area than any other boss, which is kind of funny. It's not by design or anything. It just things have just turned out that way. We talked about it a few weeks ago. Just a fun little note. We're gonna add like I know we were talking about Mount Bloom a second ago and I totally lost my train of thought, but the lowest amount of moves thing for the puzzles, we're not going to add it for like into the actual story mode of like every puzzle in the game. We actually had a discussion about this a few weeks ago, or like maybe 3 months ago, where we talked, because I like the idea, I think it's fun, but Teddy had some super solid points why we shouldn't add them, which I can't remember at this point, which it seems like it always happens. But we're gonna have a place in the game which is gonna be this tower of puzzles, where this NPC puzzle master lives, and we're gonna use that function in that tower. Like if you can solve the puzzle in the least possible moves, you're gonna get a special reward. It's not gonna be in every single puzzle, but for... Oh yeah, we have a stone cutting sound now. Annoying. Just gonna skip this. This is not an interesting cutscene. We got a slime card. That's cool. Run around, check out this place. I'm gonna go into the lab because I love the lab. I want to make like at some point the headquarters. It's a bit like empty. I want to make it feel more alive at some point. I don't know when. Which is why I like the lab more. The lab is super hectic. Hey Dad, what's up? I know, so like the puzzle thing, somebody suggested it at a forums. I don't remember who. Probably Ohm. But I don't remember. Some smart person. This is a funny piece of dialogue as well. Good thing you have back. ... like I said, there's so much funny dialogue. Eddie is a super funny guy. He's super clever, which helps a lot with the dialogue. Ooh, this will be added. It's like this is supposed to be the player house, so you can build your own house and put all the freaking furniture you find all over the place in it. I don't know when we'll add it. Like we have the housing system. It's in place, almost everything about it. I think you can place furniture, you can place stuff on top of other furniture, you can like change, there's menus for everything. Yeah, we moved stuff around. Made sense to have the player house at this part. I'm not gonna do any side quests, I think. Or at least not any of the ones here, just because I have to run all the way back to Starrington. You cannot sit in the beanbag at this point. I really need to go to the bathroom super quickly. I'm gonna be right back in like 2 minutes. Just hang on. Sorry. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. My stomach is a bit messed up. I don't know what I am really. I'm like a vegan slash vegetarian. I'm mostly a vegan, but sometimes I'm a vegetarian. And today I was out shopping for Christmas presents, and I decided to like have a burger just because sometimes I'm not a super strict vegan or anything. So I had some meat, and it's kind of messing my stomach up, but it's cool. I'm fine. I don't need this, I don't need this. I'm gonna buy some accessories. Oh, I really want this one. It's my favorite hat in the whole game. I look dope. Okay, I don't think there's super much to talk about here. I'm just gonna keep trucking on. This is also one of the super secret chests that people never tend to find. I know Own have had some pretty solid suggestions how to make it more obvious but still secret. But it's funny. I do like stuff being secret though, and people being like, "What? There's a secret here?" Thank you, Robin. Yeah, health is a good choice. I never go for health. Or at least not the amulets, just because I always pretend that I'm super skilled and that I'm not gonna get hit anyway. Boars, I love the boars. They really come into their own in arcade mode. I think they're a fun enemy to play versus. It's like a super simple enemy, but it's super obvious how it works, but it's still tricky to deal with. Which is my favorite type of enemy. Super soon you'll be able to reach the chest over here. Ooh, exciting. We haven't really properly added any like faceplate secrets or season orb secrets yet, which I think will add a lot to the whole exploration, just finding secrets in the world, Zelda style part, making it more fun to revisit old areas and stuff. I don't know when we'll add all the secrets, but we'll add like season orbs to other places than the season temple super soon, because you need to use a season orb to enter Mount Bloom. So, and the way they work, they will not work like season orbs in the temple. They change the entire entire map, the season of the entire map, and when you use season orbs out in the, I don't know, the real world, they're only gonna change like a small portion of the map, because it would be crazy amount of work to change the entire map, and it would just look weird also, I think. Don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just randomly trying to solve this. That's the good thing with this puzzle, is that you can pretty much solve it in any way you like. It looks super intimidating when you step in the first time, because, at least to me, because it's all, you have this feeling that, oh, there's only one right solution for this puzzle, but it's a million. Here we go. I don't even know which head. This entire, like the entirety of Pumpkin Woods, we actually, or the entirety, but like the 2 maps and all the enemies, were actually designed during a course we took in school. I don't remember what the course was, or what we were supposed to do, but I think we were supposed to like work on a small project and present it to the class, and we chose to do the Pumpkin Woods for the game. And I think it took us like, it went by super fast, like 4 weeks or something, and we had like all enemies set up and both maps ready. But that was like crazy amounts of work. We worked non-stop, and that was also like early on in the development, like during the honeymoon period, if you want to call it that, where you can just like, you can work non-stop forever. We're still like, at the moment we're still working tons. It's just, you can't, it's impossible to keep up. Like working 16 hours a day, because you will just go crazy. I know, want to go with this, and then I'm gonna go static touch. Arcane charge is one of my favorite talents. And I have piercing dash, just because it's always a good skill to have. There's 2 solutions to the puzzle. I mean, that you can place the. I think I don't know how to explain it. It makes you. I love these 2 characters. Whenever you use like a magic skill, your next normal attack will deal 45% more damage. Which is super nice. It's especially good if you play two-handed and you're two-handed and, you know, maybe two-handed and static touch is the best combination. Yeah, exactly. What's going on? The this is also an anecdote. This whole quest line was not added, like, was not part of the game originally. I don't remember when we added it. We just felt that it was so easy for people to just rush through since the way we structure areas in our game is that the areas are pretty small. They're pretty small, but we want there to be like stuff to see and you know, side quests and stuff to do. But a lot of people would just run straight through the pumpkin woods and like run straight to the temple, which the pacing felt off. So we added the whole curse, the curse questline, which also introduced elites, which makes sense. Yeah, Ice Snow is super. It's also one of my favorite skills. There's also an anecdote. This is actually a tribute to my best friend. We were best friends from when we were 6 years old up until we started going, you know, maybe up to 16, and then we were still super good friends, but we drifted apart because he moved away, and he died last year, which was totally messed up. It's the first time I've like lost someone close to me, except for like grandparents, and his like online alias was Slurp, so. I don't want to I don't want to make the stream super tragic, but just so you know. I have a question for, like, how often when you're playing story mode, like once you, like, how often does elite mobs appear for you? Because I've always felt that they don't appear enough, but I'm not sure if Teddy have like messed around with the numbers lately, so I'm not sure anymore. But I know at some point I thought they felt super rare. What am I doing? Yeah, I'm still super close friends with a lot of my my childhood friends. It's always nice going home for Christmas and hang out with them. Super looking forward to that. Wow, that was a long time ago for me. Fucking 27, pretty crazy. Okay, I got all of the items, I think, yes. I'm gonna go in say hello to Candy and take the quest. I think my oldest friend that I'm still like we're not super close, like we don't see each other very much, but whenever we see each other it's like we haven't been apart. I think we became friends when I was 3 or 4. He's we like, as long as I can remember, I've been friends with him, and 27 now. We've been friends for like 23 years. Crazy. He has a family and kids now. It's a weird stage now. All my friends, not all, but a lot of my friends are getting kids and stuff. Feels weird. I'm totally losing it. I don't want to mess up the game. Let's go to the Halloween. Halloweens give people so much trouble. Heard about people that had more trouble with beating the elite Halloween than they had beating all the bosses in Flying Fortress. The screen tone totally changed. At some point I'm gonna pimp out that animation a bit more, but like the base of it, that took so long for me to create. The whole wing thing. Never animated wings before. I mean, Halloween's are super, once you know how to beat them, they're super easy. But I understand why people have trouble with them. Like when we first added them, I had trouble with them. I believe most people do when they first start out. Yeah, I'm not looking to be having any kids anytime soon. Not that I'm against kids or anything. Like, kids are awesome, but I feel I'm just there's so much stuff to do still, that I don't want to be like just like working on the game. If you got kids, you couldn't be spending 8 to 10 hours a day like laser focused on working on the game. So luckily my girlfriend is she's 6 years younger than me, so and she's like the same way. She's not interested at all, so that's cool. This was the point when we first showed the game, like the first time ever we showed the game to let the public play the game. This is where the game ended, like with this line: "What's the worst that could happen?" And then the game would fade to black, and we'd be like, "Thanks for playing," which was the super perfect moment to end the game. Super hype. I love this song, by the way, it's amazing. I have super vivid memories of animating all the stuff for this machine because I had hurt my back super bad. So I was sitting in this massive chair and my back was killing me, but I still had to do. I had a ton of stuff to do. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. It's just been etched into my memory. I love that sound effect. So good. Whoop. Chilling here. I love reading like all the stuff on all of the monitors. I think it's super good. We're gonna be adding like a ton more of this like random lore stuff spread out through the game, but it's probably besides like major lore. We're gonna save all of that for like when the game is finished, pretty much. But I love stuff like that, just unnecessary information about the world. There's supposed to be like a faceplate here and like a chest over there, but we haven't added it yet. It's been like this for like, I don't know, 3 years. 2 years, I don't know. Here we go. We actually designed all of the temple and all of the enemies when I was visiting, like it was the first year after we finished school, and I went to visit Teddy when he lived in a super small apartment, and I came to visit him, and we spent like, I stayed I think 3 weeks, and we designed the entire temple. We made all the enemies. The temple didn't get finished, of course, because the polish takes super long time, and the bosses weren't like fully complete. But game design is funny that way, or game production rather. That a lot of people say like the last 10%. Of something takes 90% of the time, and it's so true. It's scary how true that is. And it's not that you're working less; it's just the tiny details they take a lot of time. Fleshing out stuff. Sometimes it can be hard, but mostly that's not the hard stuff. Yeah, we're gonna add more. We're gonna add more lore to Season Change also. We talked about like showing it off more. Instead of using text, we would use like, you could investigate like murals or pictures and stuff, and you would get like graphical lore, which I think would be super cool. I'm gonna kick this dude's ass. He's so... I'm gonna change it to hard. Do I have to reload the... No, maybe not. I don't know. Oh, that's cool. really should get a better shield, I feel. Yeah, exactly. Game XL was one of the first. It wasn't the first, but it was like one of the first public exhibitions we did. It's cool that you played it way back then. That's super cool. Also, all of this stuff, I think Teddy has. Lilia has written all the like the log stuff from Professor Pine, all the dark stuff, and Teddy has done all the scientific mumbo jumbo, which I think that it's super cool. It's so fun to read about all like unimportant stuff really, but it's interesting. Bling, bling. I feel like I've leveled up a ton, yes. I'm gonna go static touch. I always enjoy having multitasking. Up, Pico. Actually, super unhappy with how the Pico enemy turned out, or like mechanically. Doesn't really. We have some ideas how to fix it and make it more interesting, but it still works. It like it serves. It's still a dangerous enemy, but it didn't turn out the way we were hoping. Whoa. I should totally do that, G-Meister. Oh yeah, I switched to hard. Oh man, wisps on hard. Whoa, I'm gonna get smashed. Go for it. I really should have bought a better shield. I was considering it when I was buying stuff in town, but then I was like, nah, I'll be fine. Boom. 3 streams, wow. Fucking routine. I guess I could talk about a little about like our when it comes to how we design temples. I'm not sure like how much people actually pay attention to it, but the way art dungeons play compared to like a Zelda dungeon, it's it's super noticeable. Or if you compare it to, I don't know if you guys have played Crosscode, but Crosscode, the dungeons in, I'll take Zelda. Zelda is a better example because most people have played Zelda, but when we started out, when we created like this dungeon, the first dungeon, we made a super conscious decision to keep the dungeon, like the length of the dungeon to be, I don't want to say short, but not as long as like your typical Zelda dungeon where you can lose yourself, where you can like, oh, I can't find the key to this door, and you like revisit stuff. And I'm not saying that doing a dungeon like that is bad. I enjoy like the dungeons in Zelda are amazing. The dungeons in Crosscode are super amazing. But we really wanted to have the dungeons be more like not a place where you would get stuck for forever and you would get lost. We focused way more on keeping it like action orientated and just keeping it, you know, just being straight with the players. We're guiding players in the right directions. And focus more on like action oriented, like focus more on combat and bosses really. And I know like Zelda have mini bosses and stuff, but yeah, we really wanted to make like super short but super sweet dungeons, where the whole like design process when we designed the dungeons. And like gradually increase the length of the dungeons, but not to the point where they will be extreme in length. And like I said, it's not because long dungeons are bad or anything. It's just the way we decided to go about it. Money in the bank. Okay, this can get complicated. What? Oh. Oh, I forgot it again. I didn't like I said, there's a delay on the stream, so it's hard for me to, like, there's a 1 minute delay on the chat or something, so it's hard for me to play it by ear. Oh shit. Man, getting a better shield would have helped me so much at this point. I should really teleport back and buy one. I'm gonna die on purpose. I have no clue how to add like emotes and stuff. Just gonna get some better stuff overall. Chainmail, get some boots. Attack or EP? I'm going attack. Okay, I think that's good. Here we go. Oh, wrong. Man, I hate wisps. I hate all the enemies in Flying Fortress. It's gonna be hard for me to talk through this boss, but it's not much to talk about really. This boss is so straightforward. No, 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 no. Ooh. Fuck it. Accidentally farmed guardians. Oh, it's gonna suck if I die now. I really don't want to die. It's close. Oh, yes, thank you. Oh. I know a lot of people have problems with the sentry on hard. It's really annoying. Like the enemy composition in Flying Fortress, we've learned, like, as we've gone along, like we've learned, because it's not like we are, this is the first big game me and Vilja has ever worked on, or like the first real game we've ever worked on. Teddy released a game called Dwarves beforehand, but this is his second big game, so it's not like we have super much experience when it comes to designing a game of like this or of this scale. So especially early on, a lot of the enemy compositions, although like we had ideas and we had designs, things didn't always turn out the way we wanted to. And like the enemy composition in Flying Fortress, although I think it's good, I think it's a bit too hard for where it is in the game. It would probably make more sense to have like the mechanics of the enemies of Flying Fortress in like the second tempo, just because they're so, and just tweak the numbers of course, and like variables. But we've learned like a ton. I think the enemy composition for like Mount Bloom, for example, I think it's super solid. It's gonna be interesting to see what you guys think about it, because it's gonna handle a lot differently compared to other places in the game, or like other enemies in the game. It's gonna be more chaotic, but in a good way, I hope. Oops. Run them on hard shouldn't be a problem though. I think is super similar to how it works in story mode. Whoa, okay, it's a bit different. I thought it was exactly the same as in arcade mode, but this is a bit more hectic. That should be fine though. Close. I think even though the boss it is kind of simple really, I still think it's a solid like first real boss in the game, both mechanically and graphically. Although at some point it I'm losing focus. At some point it would be fun to go back and just add more movement to the boss because it's a bit static. I think the design is fine. It's gonna be interesting. One hit and I'm dead. Okay. This is okay. It's like. Okay, I'm gonna die. No. Okay, when I can't change the normal now. At least not for the first temple. I'm gonna get smashed if I try to beat like winter on hard. I need much more time. I haven't played versus winter in such a long time. But I'm gonna beat this one for sure. Big mistake. Instantly. I'm just gonna take it. Easy now. Two. Yeah. Teddy is a huge Toe player. I've never played the games, but Teddy he's super skilled at all the Toe games, I shouldn't say, but he's played a lot of them. Just bullet hells overall, he's super solid at, and they've been a huge inspiration. Okay. The early barrage, that's the only thing that's different. These guys, the red balls, there's a lot more of the red ones than in arcade mode, and that's kind of throwing me off guard. Okay, now it should be fine. No, okay. Fuck! Okay, I'm gonna have to change to normal. I don't want to be stuck with this forever. Man, hard is hard. Like, I'm sure, like, I know I can do it. It's just, like, I don't want to get stuck here forever. I still have the second temple, and I want to play the festival stuff as well. That's gonna be fun. Okay. One sad part about this boss is the amount of detail. Not that it's like an extreme amount of detail, but well, I spent a lot of time working on the screens in the background and having them like change texts and stuff. And it's just one of those things in the game that you never notices because nobody looks over there. But I've done a lot of different animations for when, like the error animation and when he overheats and stuff. Are you kidding me? Okay. Overheat. I got a little timer there, and I had to I had to create like numbers for the screen. A lot of work. It's so easy now. Kind of hurts that I didn't. I love this cutscene, by the way, but that I didn't manage to beat it on hard. My pride is damaged. One hilarious part about our game, and that is that there's a lot of asshole characters in the game, or like evil characters. Like Bag is an asshole. This guy is an asshole. Santa's wife is an asshole. Master Ivy is an asshole. The Gauntlet is an asshole. But they're like on different level of assholeness, so I think it still works. This is funny. Probably be like a sound effect there. I've never thought about it. And there's no music here. Even though I think it works, it's maybe there should be like some evil relic theme. Although we had that before, like the cutscene before the boss, but yeah, I don't know. Okay. Here we go. Oh yeah, we have to fight Marino first as well. I really like this little intermission thing, Marino. I think it really helps the pacing of the game. Instead of having to, like when we first laid out the whole design of the for the game, the way it worked was basically you would just go from dungeon to dungeon and then go and just eventually beat the game. You would like go from Flying Temple to Season Temple to the Time Temple to the, I'm not gonna say what kind of temple, although I know what kind of temple it is, but I'm gonna keep the Secret Temple, which is the 4th, and then the Final Temple. But along the way, we really felt that the pacing was so fast, which is the same reason why we added the whole quest line in the Pumpkin Woods. Marino is pretty much the same. It's like a little intermission, and also we get to flesh out Marino as a character. Although his whole character is surprise, he's an asshole. This freaking laugh. But yeah, I think I really like the pacing. Having to chase him around and beat the snot out of him. Oh, I didn't pick it up. I'm not gonna make anything. I'm not gonna craft the lightsaber anyway. This old minigame, it's a bit elementary, but I still think it works. I don't think stuff have to be overly complicated to be fun. Marino, he's the biggest douche of them all, really. Just his whole perspective on life, even though, you know, he's turning around. You can notice it during the festival. He's starting to become quite a good guy, so exciting. But he's like a, I don't know, he's like a racist, rich douchebag. I'm gonna try to, I don't know how many people know about this, but that you can actually, no, I missed. If you block all of his hits when he's doing a combo, I don't have the timing nailed down at all, but I'm gonna try. Oh, my shield broke. But if you block the entire combo, you will actually stun him, and he will like drop to the floor and stuff. I'm gonna try. Yes. It's so easy. At some point we're gonna like when we first designed Marino, he was much harder. He was way harder, but we had some feedback from our like in-house testers that he was too hard, which I agree, he was too hard, but I think we kind of overdid it, and now he's too weak instead. He's like, you can just, especially when you're more than one player, you can totally just bum rush him, and no matter what's going on, you're gonna slay him instantly. So I'm looking forward to revisiting this battle at some point, but it works at the moment, so it's fine. Here we go. Yes, go to the lab. Any kind of crafting? I mean, we have crafting. I'm not sure if you meant like more like they do it in Minecraft. But our crafting, it's super simple. I don't know if we're gonna like have specific color changes and stuff. I'm not sure. I wouldn't really be against it if we have a smart interface for it, but it's not. It's extra work, you know. It's not something we're focusing on now. But like I said, I wouldn't be against it, like having the ability to change colors of specific items you craft or whatever. Oh, Dad. I'm just gonna read this dialogue. I know the cutscenes are pretty long, but I really enjoy. Like this whole section, it's weird. It's super old. It's like this cutscene has to be like 2 years old or something, but it still feels fresh to me. Like everything from after the first temple and on feels like, yeah, it wasn't such a long time ago when we first created this, but it still has to be a long time ago. It's weird in your brain when you're working on a game for such a long time. My green sparkling face. Hold up, Dad. Naniba. Ivy. It's also a little anecdote that Naniba, of course, is a reference to Navi, but it's also a reference. Naniba is I don't know. When I'm looking at people doing let's plays of the game, I don't think I ever seen anyone mention it, but Naniba is actually a super famous Swedish StarCraft 2 player. He doesn't play anymore, I think, but he was one of the best like Foragin players, or like one of the few that could. At a pretty short period though, but he could. He was like one of the best players in the world. One of the best players, but he was like threatening Korean players at most tournaments for a short period of time. Ivy. I love Ivy. I think she's amazing. Do-do-do. I've never really heard or seen a proper complaint about it, but I wonder if people think that our game contains a lot of text. I personally feel that some of the cutscenes, I don't like, they might be too long, but I don't mind because they're cutscenes, so I just think it's good that there's a lot of text. But at the same time, I would understand if people got annoyed by it just being long cutscenes. How are they doing all, or not all of it? We have two dudes doing sound effects. They've done an amazing job. So shout out to Fark Studios and Rare Sound Studio, I think. I don't know if the studios is part of it, but Rare Sound is the other dude. I really like this point in the game also because I think this is the point where most players realize that there's an actual like that the game the story takes like a more serious tone. Before it felt like, you know, a generic RPG, which is by like it's by design from our part, you know, easing players into the story. But I really like this part. It really, like I said, it sets a darker tone, and it's really established in the Flying Temple already with all the scary lore about Professor Pine and Eileen. But it's gonna be cool to see people's reaction to how the story develops. Like, we've had everything, things change, like minor things change, but the overall story arc have been planned since forever, and it's gonna be interesting to see what people think. Hello, Ivy. Oh, she's totally bugged out. This must be like recently from the most recent patch, right? Because I've talked to her many times before. I think it's the same thing that happened to Dad in the first cutscene of the game, because there's new cutscenes with Ivy now, so I should really tell that to Teddy. That's also I know Teddy works really hard, so nobody ever mentions Dad's name. Doesn't have a laughing sound, he probably should. And this whole the relationship between Bag and Nanova, even though I don't think it gets portrayed like the whole the dialogues they have in the what do you call it, when they're giving tips to the players, the tutorial tips. I think we can probably improve upon that to make it more flow better and make it more, make it more funny really. But I still I think it's a cool idea if we can just polish it a bit more. Okay, here we go. just gonna... It's such a funny text message from a friend. Okay, I was gonna check the time. Man, it's getting late, but it's cool. I'm gonna get through this. I'm just gonna do this instantly. I'm not gonna catch any pets or anything. Or should I? No. Get this chicken. More talent orbs. I think this puzzle is super cool. Just because it feels like it's... there's a lot of people that don't figure it out, which is kind of what I think makes it brilliant. Because when people do figure it out, it seems like from like all the stuff I've seen, people become super excited. Oh, it's an elite bastard. Discount? Yes. I'm just gonna leave him there. No, animating hair would be like it would be just so much work, really. I mean, I'm never gonna say never, but I feel it makes more sense to be able to, as easy as possible, add new haircuts than having like bouncy hair, because making every haircut bounce, even though it's easy animations, it's just all the haircuts have 4 directions, and like if the hair is bouncing when you run, then it probably should bounce when you like attack and when you do skills. So it's just gonna be a tremendous amount of work. Hey dudes. Didn't I write? Oh. That's amazing. I feel that's what I like about it. Like I said, once you figure it out, it's like, oh yeah, I'm super smart. Yeah, exactly. But like I said, I'm never gonna say never, because I mean, if I could, I would add it. I love bouncing hair. I mean, I love flowy hair. I love any type of animation, really. Like secondary animations, I think are amazing. So, and depending on like what happens at the end of production, like we have this massive, and I'm talking a massive list of stuff that we like just random polish that we're going to do at like the end steps of production. If I can squeeze it in there, I would totally do it, but there's a lot of stuff on that list already, and I know there's going to be a lot more stuff on it. but we'll see. I definitely would like to do it. It's just it's a matter of priority, you know. Just gonna go for it. Like I said, Santa's wife, she's also a big douchebag. And here he comes. It's too bad it's so hard to see, like probably do like a camera pan actually, so you can see the entirety of the factory. Flashing lights and this cogwheel and all the bouncy chimneys. Luke. This is where Luke really gets into, or like we really get a feel for what kind of character Luke is, which is it's practically a strong idiot. A lovable strong idiot. Should probably do some leveling up, maybe. Simple, that's a good, it's actually a super good word to describe him by. Some super early sketches that I did for the toy factory. I think I've shown them on like one stream at some point. I don't remember, but it's funny to compare how the toy factory looks now and how I envision it, because my version is so, it's like brownish, dark. It almost, like if you compare them side by side, it feels like my version is something straight out of Fallout. One thing about the prisons, pretty, like for a good while we had like they worked like the bomb prisons. If you would accidentally hit the bombs would explode, which I still think is an interesting, it adds an interesting layer to fighting the prisons, because you have to be careful what you do. But we ended up we changed it anyway, because mostly because of arcade mode, because it was so hard playing arcade mode when like when you would accidentally just hit the bombs all the time. And I also think that even though I still like appreciate the mechanics behind it, I think a lot of people got pretty frustrated with the bombs. Oops. Ooh. Yeah, I know. I always end up pressing in too much points into it. Rook's back. Just spamming by the dialogue now. This is one of the, I don't know why, this is one of the best dialogues in the game. I'm sorry. I really like how this whole, we call them challenges. I really like how this one turned out. I think it's fun, it's tricky, you gotta be on your toes. We had I can't remember all the different, we had a ton of different ideas for what we wanted to do. There was like one where you had to, like bombs traveling down conveyor belts, and you would have to like time them to explode at the same time, where they would like hit 3 switches and you had to hit them all at the same time. I had a ton of suggestions, but I don't remember them at all. Oh shit. I think I mentioned this also at one of my other streams, but I've actually made like our initial idea for how Luke was gonna solve the puzzle was he was just gonna give up in the end, and he would like smash all the puzzle blocks, or he would smash all the blocks besides the actual puzzle block, so we could just push it in. And I've made animations and stuff for it. Like I've made the blocks breaking, Luke swinging his axe. But Teddy just, when he made the cutscene, he forgot about it. He totally forgot about it. So we've just kept it this way for now. But I'm still like, I think it would be more fun if it ended up like him just going full Hulk mode and smashing them. But this works as well, so it's also one of those like we'll fix it in the end. Oops. I'm super happy with how graphically this boss turned out. I also like the mechanical design, although I realize like a lot of people don't enjoy it, like don't enjoy the boss, and I get it. It's a bit chaotic and it's a bit different, and but I still enjoy it. But especially graphically, I'm really happy with how toy machine turned out. Like at first I have it was supposed to be way smaller, the toy machine, and I've actually made animations for it and everything. I don't have Photoshop open, so I don't. I'm not gonna show them now, but it was really small actually, and I made it like way before Teddy actually created the boss, like maybe a year in advance. And when it was time to actually make the boss, we decided that it looked super lame at the size, like with the size that I had decided upon. So I had to totally remake the entire thing, but I'm glad I did because it looks way better this way. So badass. It's actually one of the bosses. It has very few animations compared to every boss or enemy in the game. Really has like its idle animation, startup animation, and death animation. But it doesn't need anything more, so. Oops. I was gonna kill it by hand. Fuck you! I really want to add like some smoke particles and like electricity sparks on the carcasses of the machine, but it's also on the massive polish to-do list. So there's just a ton of like small graphical improvements overall I want to make, but it's just not smart to dive into that stuff now because it's just gonna consume so much time from development that could be focused on progressing the actual story. That's cool to hear, Fika Pause. Man, my throat is getting fucked up. I'm talking too much. Flip the switches during the toy machine boss? Yeah, that's the whole point with the boss. Or at least with that section. Yeah, it changes depending on what day it is. I should probably be able to do this. Yeah. I don't know how many realized, but that's actually the Pillar Mountains theme playing. Oh, tribute to the Pillar Mountains. Oh. I don't know, actually. I'm just gonna go with this. Okay, heading to the second temple. Like I said, I'm just gonna skip all the side quests and stuff, or I'm gonna be stuck here for hours. Oh, is that still the case? Because that's obviously a bug. I do remember someone else said the same thing though, so I think Teddy has fixed it. I'm not sure though. I think this scene is funny too. Oh, okay, that's cool. Like I said, I'm like with all the bugs and stuff, it's I don't keep up at all. I just want to go kill the puzzle bug. I want to hear the sounds. Sound effects are so good for this one. I love, like, I've never actually heard the sound effects for, they're pretty new. Well, like, I've heard the sounds, but not in the actual game. And it's so cool when you've worked on something for so long and then you finally add sound effects to them. It's like you're playing a whole new game. I'm not gonna solve the puzzle. I don't have the energy. I thought we had a sound effect for the freezing spell, but apparently not. Had a lot of fun animating Winter, like his and his like his Fae version, but especially the boss sprite, because it's the only thing in the game that has like remotely correct human anatomy. It's still totally fucked up, but it's almost correct, so it was interesting doing. Oh no! It's gonna be, at some point we're gonna add like a quest where you're gonna help this poor sucker get unfrozen. but I don't know when exactly. Fire spell. Bag. It's so old. So cool. I loved Naniwa as well. Like as a kid, like she's a flimsy character, but I think she does flimsy well. It's not a bad idea actually, Sabir's. I can't remember, like I forget stuff all the time. We've had some talks about it, and we have like a desert area coming up, so which will have a pretty cool side quest thing going on, which is connected to Santa Fe. It's gonna have a section that I'm really looking forward to. We're actually doing a lot of cross-connecting different areas to others. Like we have a pretty cool thing that we're working on now that we haven't shown like anywhere yet, I don't think, on the blog or anything, which will connect Mount Bloom to the Flying Fortress in a pretty cool way. So it's gonna be, yeah, I'm looking forward to showing you guys that stuff. But I love doing like, I love when stories and, you know, movies, whatever, do stuff like that, when everything is not everything, but when stuff is connected in some way, and it's just not all random. These are my favorite enemies in the game. Graphically, I love knights. I've always loved knights, doing armor and stuff. And I've been telling Billy and Teddy from the start, like, I really want to make, like, it would be cool if we had a place somewhere in the game where there were like knights in different colors. And it wasn't really planned from the start when we started with the temple, but they I pitched the idea and they were like, yeah, why not? It seems cool. So I got to make a lot of knights. And I'm super happy with the animations for the knights, and just the overall, just the sprites themselves. I think they are some of my best sprite work in terms of like readability and just detail. Yeah, that's a great thing about games like this, when there's I've always enjoyed, that's what I loved about Secret of Mana when I was a kid, that there were so many widely different areas. And I know I've read some interviews with the director of the game, and he talked about wanting to make the game like Secret of Mana as like a children's storybook with just different worlds all over the place. And I love stuff like that, because then you can always find like your own personal favorite. Also supposed to be like a sound effect for the ice ring appearing. I hate this boss. I want to redesign it to some extent at some point, but I don't know when, and I don't know exactly how. But it's just too chaotic in not a good way, I think. We didn't die? Oh yes. Yeah. It's super nasty on hard. Like I said, just it's so chaotic. Like I said when I was talking about like how we designed Flying Fortress, we had pretty much the same design philosophy with season change. Like we never intended to make like a enormous temple where you like, and like backtracking was never, we just want to avoid it really. And like I said, not that it's bad design or anything, but if people want to play games with like super puzzle focused huge dungeons, then you can play Zelda. Hey dude. Thought this bug was fixed way back. I know I found this bug like on one of the first playthroughs of the boss. But yeah, if you really think about it, when you play this dungeon or like Flying Fortress, you're gonna like, it's not a super complicated dungeon, and it's always gonna guide you in the right direction. And yeah, compared to Flying Fortress, which I think is something we should probably improve upon with Flying Fortress, is that this temple is way more focused on combat. Like there's a lot of actual encounters. Although I like improve upon, I still think Flying Fortress is good. I don't really know if I want to change anything about it really. It's good to set things apart a bit. But if you think about it, you can really notice how this dungeon is way more focused on just encounters with the enemies of the dungeon and not just the bosses. Because in Flying Fortress you can pretty much escape all encounters. And here you can, like the first time you enter a room, I don't think there's a single encounter you can't escape. Yeah, they gain special attacks depending on which season it is. So if you change to winter, the winter enemies can use their special attacks, and if it's fall, the fall enemies can use their special attacks, and so on. Also, like the way we do puzzles in our game compared to, like I compare to Zelda all the time, but it's just an easy comparison to make. Our puzzles are, we never, I don't know how to like formulate this, but we never we never designed them to be super hard. Like if you played Crosscode and like the first dungeon, the mine dungeon they just updated the game with, like if you compare our dungeons versus the dungeons in Crosscode, they are so different, which is, even though we're doing very similar types of games, they have super much focus on puzzles, and they have encounters sprinkled in, and we've done the complete opposite, where we have super heavy focus on encounters and we have like puzzles sprinkled on top. But we never try to, when we design this, like, I'm not gonna say never, but for this dungeon specifically, a lot of the puzzles were never intended to be like super mind-bending puzzles intended to keep players from progressing, or like having players actually, I don't know how to formulate it, I don't know. It's cool to hear people enjoying them, because I've actually been worried about people thinking they are too easy, just because, like I said, it's never been our focus to try to make the puzzles the challenge of the dungeons. They are more there to break up the pacing, really. Oh, I missed. But anyway, I should focus on this boss, because I think I love this boss. Even though like I've seen people doing Let's Plays and they've been stuck on this boss forever, I think this is one of, in terms of design, this is one of the bosses I'm most happy with, just because I think it's such a simple boss when you think about it. The mechanics are really simple, and they focus on the actual season change mechanics, which I think is cool. And even though you know how the boss works, it's still gonna be difficult to handle it. But yeah, I super enjoy just simple designs. And I think it looks graphically, it's one of my favorite bosses as well. Yeah, we've nerfed the Frostling boots now, so you won't gain like complete immunity to ice. You'll just slide a tad bit less. Pixel art, it's good. I can show some stuff I've been working on once I've completed this whole thing. This whole section is quite a good example of what I was talking about when I mentioned like the puzzles that we don't try to make them super complicated. This puzzle is super easy. Like, we never intended for someone to really get stuck on this puzzle, but it's more of a change of pace in the dungeon, really, because you've just had a lot of encounters with enemies and you've beaten the crap out of a huge freaking boss. So and like we've had major discussions about this part specifically, just because it's just because it's so simple, the puzzle here, like you all you have to do is, it's so obvious what you need to do, really. But in the end, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think pacing is more important than just pure challenge, really. This is the way to go, right? Yeah. This is just to break off the pace, and then we're back in like pure action. So it's like, I don't know how to, like it's an illusion of of a puzzle, really. Specifically that one, just because it's so simple. But I don't like necessarily think that's a bad thing. Some people might call it bad game design, but I don't know. I think it fulfills what it's supposed to do, just break the pace. And then with the water puzzle coming up, it gets a bit more complicated, and I think that feels like just about right. Yeah, exactly. Pokemon puzzles is a good example. They're not like intended to be the most mind-bending, super hard puzzles in the game. They're just there to break up the endless grind of catching Pokemons. Exactly. Oh, what am I doing? This is like a design flaw on our part, I think. Because it's so, when you enter the room, like the first thing you do is smash. You always smash the orb. It would be cool if you could, I don't know really, but it's such a process to change all this. Maybe better placement of the orbs, I don't know. And like I said, we're always trying to guide the players in the right way. It's like, no, you can take the wrong path, but you're always gonna end up on a path you've been before. Like there's no real multi-branching path except in the next room. But they always, if you're going the wrong way, it's always gonna end up with like a dead end immediately. And it's also by design, just to keep the dungeons short and just action focused instead of just running around trying to figure out puzzles. Which again is amazing as well. It's just a different way of tackling dungeons, really. I think Secret of Mana did a similar, had like a similar design philosophy, even though they didn't really have like proper dungeons per se, but that game always focused on the combat. There were puzzles, but they were even more, they were simpler even than the puzzles in our game, so oops. Perfect guard. Wow. This room is intense. But like here, this is the first multi-branching room in the entire dungeon, I think. or that's not true actually. We do have like the random, the simple puzzle room, but they all work the same. If you take the wrong path, you can't do anything. You can go here, and this is a dead end. And if I go here, this is not necessarily the wrong path, but you just get a chest, and then you realize that, okay, I know where to go. And then this is like the puzzle boss of the game, or however you want to put it. But this is like the hardest puzzle in not in the game, in the dungeon. I'm probably gonna end up failing now, but this puzzle it's not hard either. Like I said, I'm probably gonna end up messing this up now. Haven't done this in a while. We'll see. Would this be right? This feels so simple. I know, like, I don't remember exactly how to solve it, but I remember how Teddy designed it. And he basically just this works, right? He placed all the puzzle pieces. I love this animation, by the way. I think it looks pretty cool when they go into the water. Nice. And the little step animation. I love like the little details like this. Is what I love about games and animation. This chest is pretty cool. How you get it? You have to. This is my. I love stuff like this. Like you have to change it to summer, but then you can't progress here, so you have to take the long way around. And like when I explain it, it feels so obvious and super simple. But I know some people have a hard time figuring this one out. And then you can just wrap around and grab it. Because I think most people, they'll just end up oh yeah, damn, I look sweet. They'll just end up changing to summer here, and they realize, oh, I can't progress, I need to change back to winter, and they don't realize that once you've opened up once you've hit the levers in the lobby, you can just wrap around super easily. But since it's a totally optional chest, I think that that's just good, in my opinion. That people really have to think about how to get to it. Man, I look so good. Hide it. Okay, I like this room. I don't necessarily know what to call, because this is not a puzzle. This is more of a challenge, I guess. But I think it challenges like this suits our game way better than straight up puzzles. Even though, like I said, breaking up the pace with puzzles is always good, because if you only have like non-stop action, that's gonna suck too. Go fast. This was way harder initially as well, and it's a bit sad, I think, but it's hard to balance stuff like this because I think in the end it might have turned out a bit too easy, but at the same time I think maybe it's I don't know, it's tricky because of course you don't want to make things too easy, but also you don't want to make things too hard. Depending on what it is also, because I feel this room can be one of the reasons we leaned towards making it easier was because of the whole it can be a frustrating room, like with the winds, and also the encounter can be it's a bit chaotic, and avoiding frustration is like, if you can do that, then you're a good game designer. Happy birthday, Sarah. Okay, time to mess up winter. Oh, that's right. And also gold charge. That's wicked. I haven't had a gold charged skill in a long time. Well, when I've done playtesting, but when I play the game straight up, since you can't like you'll never reach a gold level charge in arcade at this point. That's gonna be cool. I'm just gonna go for straight up damage. Winter. Winter is an interesting boss because I'm happy with how Winter turned out, but sometimes I think some people might perceive him as frustrating, even though I don't think he's a frustrating boss. Yeah, exactly. I think that's a mental problem as well, or just people, because especially in Season Change, I mean, the difficulty level of the game really ramps up quite rapidly with the Season Hydra and Winter, which I don't have a problem with because it's supposed to be a hard game. Even from the start, we did like the bosses have always, the intent have always been to make like a challenging game. And of course you're gonna have to ease into it, so we didn't want to make it super hard from the start, but having it difficult has always been like, it's always been by design. Then of course you can discuss like maybe it ramps up too quickly, and maybe it does. I mean, who am I to say? Like I said, I'm super happy with the graphical design of of Winter and his animations overall. It was super fun to do him just because of the almost real human anatomy. Only thing we've had a lot of talks about adding like some kind of indicators for when he does like that, when he bashes his fist into the ground and there's ice spikes traveling all around the place, because even though it's possible to learn, like if you play it enough, you're gonna get a feel for how they will travel. It can still be like hard to determine exactly where they will go, especially if you haven't played him super much. But I think at least on normal difficulty, we're gonna add like some kind of indicator on the ground that helps you not get smashed in the face. I missed. Oh, I was reading chat. Oh no. I love this part. Yeah. Ooh, I'm gonna die from one hit. I did enter the battle with super low HP though, so... Or super low, but I had like 100. Okay. Oh, it's gonna suck if I run into a spike now and die. That wouldn't even be weird if I do. Oh, I'm nervous. Ooh. Oh, fuck. Okay, I'm gonna crush him now. I forgot about my damage potion. Kinda interesting how this boss works, because most of the attacks are just combinations of different attacks. Like when he can do throwing an orb and there's a snow hand appearing, smash his fist, and like point his finger and summon winds. And all attacks are pretty much combinations of those attacks, with like a variation in how difficult they are. But it was like interesting when we designed the boss in the first place. We had a lot of different, as always when we sit down and design the bosses, there's a lot of suggestions that we just don't decide to go for. I can't remember now, but there was a million different other attacks we had planned for them, or not planned, but that was up for debate at least. Oh shit. I'm gonna get close. close. I want to damage him. Oh. That hurt. And I'm getting greedy. It's probably because I'm guessing you've played multiplayer. Because I don't think the game time is recorded if you're a client on multiplayer. Or at least it's been like that since the start, and I don't think Teddy has fixed it. I'm not 100% sure though. Okay. Oh. So nervous. Oh, come on. Thank you. I'm just gonna read the chat. Okay. Do you ever have issues streaming this game? No, not really. I mean, I have issues streaming it because my computer starts to lag, but that's because I have issues streaming overall because my computer sucks. So, but specifically for this game, no, it's fine for me. Okay, that's weird, Fico Powers. I don't have an answer for you. Thanks for the coffee, Shopless. We're Shopless, shoe place. We're working as hard as we can, and it's still gonna be a while until the whole thing is released, but it's going to be released. That's for sure. Like, there's no way we're gonna stop development now. We're so deep. Like, it's the only thing that this is what we earn all our money from. So, even though it's gonna take some time, it's definitely going to come out at some point. So, yeah, definitely, we're gonna add more, just more gear overall with specials and more weapons, just more stuff overall. Now it's time for some. I think this is also a cool turning point in the game because it gets sad and a character dies and it's like the seriousness of the game quietly ramps up all the time, and will it continue? We'll see. What I have to do, Amber Pro, is I have to wait. I'm just gonna finish this cutscene and I'll show you what I have to do. Sad music. It's so funny. You heard the sound effect. I don't know if you can hear the sounds though, but Halvard, the dude, one of the dudes that's making the Sound Force, he's amazing. But the first sound effect he made for when the elder dude tries to stand up, it was so disgusting. It sounded like a monster, like an old 90-year-old dude dying, which is exactly what's happening. So I'm not blaming him, but it was funny. Should add up more badass sound effect for that lightning. In the bag. Okay, Amber Pro, what I have to do to make it work, and I'm not a pro streamer, so I'm not sure really what I'm talking about, but I have to change from full screen from yes to windowed. And it may takes more power from the computer, so it lags a bit more, but at least the game shows up. Because if I don't do that, when I try to stream it, it just completely, I just get a black screen. I'm not sure if that's if you have the same problem at all, but that's what I had to do. Oh, I have one life. Here we go, here we go. What happens if you teleport at this point? I don't want to try it because I don't want to mess up my own game, but I bet someone must have tried that already. Oh, this is the hard point. It's so funny that the guy encased in ice, like they've just it's not, I think it's a bug really, but they just suddenly pushed him aside, like not entirely behind the tree, but just you can see half of him. Like nobody really cares, and it's like inconvenient that he's standing in the middle of the road. So yeah, just put him behind a tree. It's fine. We'll take care of that later. So funny. Like I said, we're gonna add like a quest line where you have to help him get out of the ice, melt it somehow, but yeah. Spring. I've read this dialogue so many times, but I still find it funny. And I'm guessing it's because this is my own little baby, so I'm never gonna get bored of it, but I still think the dialogue, I've said it a million times, but I think it's so good. And I have nothing to do with it, so I'm not like tooting my own horn or anything. Yeah. 420, of course. Would have been fun doing a baked playthrough. But no, I'm straight as an arrow at the moment. Okay. Whoa. I do want to add like more preparation details. I love, even though it takes work from other things, I still think stuff like this is important to make the world feel alive. Just people prepping for the festival. Bank. That's funny. Ugh. Man, I'm getting tired. But I gotta finish up. What time is it? Like, I've come this far, I can't quit now. Man, it's getting late. 20 to 1. Oh, it's the cutscene now. That's right, the dragon cutscene. Man, that was a pain in the ass to create. Like so far, like I really love the I don't know what to call it, like the story arc, the dramatic arc in our game. Like I said, it just, you realize that the game, it's not just a happy-go-lucky RPG. It's more and more like dark and complicated, which I think so far I really like it. Just the pacing of it all. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't wanna spoil anything. Funny little thing. Slon Kurz is actually a play on words of Slonky, which is the name of Vilja and Teddy's cat, or one of their cats. They have two. So yeah, the dragon is named after Vilja and Teddy's cat. Dad, fresh as a daisy. Charlotte. I really think Vilja has done a super good job with all the gold and everything. And man, Mount Bloom looks fucking amazing. It's gonna be so cool showing you guys everything about Mount Bloom. I'm super excited about the stuff we're working on now, and Vilja has really stepped up. She's always been good, you know, but comparing like I could do with myself. Like if you compare the early stuff with the latest stuff we done, the early stuff is still fine. It's still good, you know. It still holds high quality. But her work on Mount Bloom is amazing. There's a lot of cool stuff there. It's the freaking dragon. Such a long time to do all the animations for him. And then I still had to I it just took so much time that I really had to compromise the quality of some of the animations. Like if I had unlimited time, I would have spent a ton more on the dragon, just because it's such a huge sprite. Triforce is a shout out to Zelda, of course. This whole session where she jumps in, I'm gonna revisit it at some point and make it way more epic. Like I have a really clear vision of what I want to do, because when she dives in, it gives as a spectator, you get so little time to react to what's going on. So I have a strong vision of what I want to do, but we'll see when and even if I have the time to do it. It's gonna be one of those post-production things. There's also like second people flames here. Told Teddy to use different flames. I have like the static touch spark effects, but I don't have any static touch. Eddie! Festival time. Man, I forgot how long. Because it's getting late, but still, like I need to get the bee. But it's not that long. Festival. I'm really happy with how I mean, I'm not gonna say anything, but that's not the entirety of the story. But like I said, the story gets more and more complex the deeper you get into it. So, like I said, the game just starts out as you wanting to become a collector. So it's gonna go deeper than that. But what I was gonna say is I'm super happy with how the festival itself turned out. But I can talk about that when we actually get to the festival. Witch and Biggs, of course. Philia is, especially when she was a kid, she was a massive, massive Star Wars fan. So she really wanted a Witch and Biggs in there. It's all the same to me. So overpowered. Oh, Luke. You beautiful man. Bag's face is so amazing too. His smug little smile. It's amazing. Oh, that's cool. Studying animation, I would love to do that as well at some point. Maybe after, or maybe definitely after we finished with the game, but depending on what happens afterwards, if we have like a break in game making after Grindea is finished, I wouldn't mind going to, because I have no formal education in animation, like everything I've taught myself from the internet, everything, which today is like, it's not a, that's probably just as good if you keep at it, you know. The internet is great, but still there's a lot loads of loads of things I don't know, obviously. So studying at an actual school would be, at some point in my life, I'm definitely going to do that. I feel it would definitely, like, I've studied some, recently I've listened to a lot of like real, I don't want to say real animators, but like proper hand-drawn 2D animators. And it's amazing, like the knowledge and how they can do the stuff they do. Like at some point I would really love to try to like do a short animated movie or something, but as I said, definitely after Grindea. Like I don't have time to do anything but work on the game at this point, and I don't want to do anything else either. I don't want to be sidetracked with like I know some people like to do projects on the side to keep them yeah, I don't know, to keep them sane, I guess, but that doesn't really work for me. If I ever try to do something on the side, I always end up thinking, man, I should really work on Grindea now. Why am I doing this? So I mean, that's what you go to school for, to learn. So I mean, everybody's crap at some point. I know I was crap, super crap, but you just keep at it and practice, you become, like, it's impossible not to become skilled. And some people might have to work harder than others, but at some point you're gonna learn stuff and you're gonna become better. If I watch any animators on YouTube, I follow some, man, I can't remember the names of anyone at the moment though. Ryan, is it Ryan Blaze? He's a former Disney animator. I follow him, and I have a few that I follow. But I can't name drop them. I can check it out later, and I can post my favorites. Oh, here we go. Wasn't that long ago that I playtest the shit out of this one, so I don't know if I ever played her with sounds, so like I said, sounds are amazing. Oh, whoa. No. Come on. Oh. Come on. Oh, she tricked me. Come on, yes. Okay. I'm the same dude. I love everything about doing animations for games. Really. Funny when I think about it, but I'm literally living. If like I am having like my dream job by far. Like if I had the choice to do anything but what I'm doing now, having like my own private company together with two of my best friends and doing, where I have complete creative freedom and all I do is sit around and do animations all day and create like my absolute like and create my dream game. I wouldn't do anything else. So I definitely recommend it if you're into games and animation and visual effects, then it's a perfect fit. Yeah, man, creating games is amazing. Okay, festival time. Like I said, I'm really stoked about how the festival turned out from the start. What we had planned, the festival, first of all, wasn't supposed to be in the game at all. It was a pretty late addition to the game. But we felt, once again, I'm talking a lot about pacing, and it's hard for me to define what pacing is, really, what makes good pacing, because to me, all you have to do, like, if you just have to play the game, you have to feel the pacing of the game, and we felt that the pacing going straight from defeating Winter going straight into the next temple, we felt that we needed some kind of intermission once again. And we also felt we wanted to build Luke and Marino as characters more, or like make them important characters. So we decided we'll add a festival, because like everybody loves festivals in old timey RPGs. Like Chrono Trigger, the festival is amazing in Chrono Trigger. When you played Harvest Moon, all the festivals were great. But we didn't want to like spend an enormous amount of time doing the festival, just because it was just supposed to be this intermission thing. So what we first planned to do was to make like almost a cutscene based festival where you wouldn't be able to move around freely. You would still play all the tiny mini games, but it would just be like all the stuff in between the actual mini games would be cutscenes. So you would like stand around with Marino and Luke and do the swinging, the punching bag mini game, and a cutscene would play, and then you would move to the next. A cutscene would play, and you would move to the next. Basically just to save time, because we figured we didn't have to like create the entire city. We could just do it in chunks. But I especially felt that it would take away so much from the festival if we did it like that. Like it would feel, I don't know, it would feel static and weird not to be able to explore as you wished. And we talked a lot about it, and we figured that it wouldn't necessarily demand super much extra work to create the entire festival anyway. So we decided to do it, and we actually managed to like put together the festival incredibly fast for our standards, at least. Like it only took a few weeks before it, like 2-3 weeks maybe, and we were almost like completely done. And then we spent like maybe one more week polishing some stuff while we were working on other things as well. So but overall I'm super happy with it, especially considering like how much time we actually had to put in to the festival. It feels like we got a lot out of the time we put in. So I think the festival, even though it's not super complicated, you don't spend a lot of time here, it's still, I strongly feel it serves a purpose. Like you've just been through this super hectic boss fight, and you watched Winter die, and like you've learned that your mother has died, and you get to see the whole thing. So now we have this super happy-go-lucky festival part where it's all about fun and games before you go into Mount Bloom and beat the crap out of shit ton of enemies and bosses and stuff. So what type of program do you use if you need? I use Photoshop, but I wouldn't recommend using Photoshop for animation, especially if you're trying to do something else besides pixel animations. Then I definitely wouldn't recommend it. It really depends on what type of animation you're trying to do. If you're just doing, you know, 2D animation, 2D hand-drawn animation, there's a lot of super solid programs around. They all cost money, of course. They're pretty expensive, but I think most of them are. Like I've used Photoshop. I've done Flash animation, which is Flash is good, but I wouldn't really know about like industry standards. But I guess it shouldn't be super hard to find out though if you just do some Googling. I actually don't know if GIMP. I've never like I think I've used GIMP once, like 10 years ago. But maybe. Like the animation tools in Photoshop are super, they're not complicated at all. They're super crude, but they still get the work done. And there's a lot of like glitches and weird stuff going on. Okay, here we go. Really want to nail it. Oh yeah. Some slapstick humor straight in your face. It's great though. Okay. Let's see. I do have like, you have to mash so fast. It's and it's because Teddy is a great masher. Like he has a really good mashing finger. I call it Mega Man fingers because that's the game me and Teddy we played a lot of Mega Man 10, and that's where we like practiced our mashing skills. But he's way better masher than me, so. I don't think so, but if it does, Teddy haven't told me, but I wouldn't think so. Okay. Oh, it was close though. I totally botched it though. I haven't used like, I have. Oh, I was just practicing my mashing. I'm a bit rusty. I haven't played a lot of mashing necessary games lately. You really pick up my my Mega Man 10 skills again. Mega Man 10 is a great game. Design-wise, it's super solid. Barrel fishing. I really want to transfer this type of how the window, every time you manage to catch a fish the window shrinks. I really want to I want to transfer that mechanic to arcade mode. I think that would be really cool. Just because fishing in arcade mode can become so a bit static, because you're doing the same thing. Man, I suck at this. You're doing the same thing all over and over again, and it's not like the fishing in arcade mode is challenging. I mean, sometimes I drop fishes, I do, but it's mostly because you're unfocused, because it's so not challenging after you've done it like a million times. Alright, dude, good night, thanks for tuning in. The laugh is so good. It's a draw. Come on, dudes. We're taking a picture. Oh, wait. Okay, you get to be room, right, and I'll be the Yeti. I didn't want to check that out. I'll do it later. Feels like I nailed it. Volcano. Erupt. 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 Doesn't erupt? Oh no, the baking soda is out, of course. Dad, look at me while I talk to you. Fucking douchebag. Okay, here we go. Time for Black Ferret's version 2. This is also, I'm super happy with the design of this upcoming boss. Yeah, I know. Works with maybe it's only Quinton though. Ivy. Sneaky bastard. Really happy with her walking animation. She looks like a badass. knows what I'm talking about. He's so smash their skulls. She's gonna beat up kids. Hell yeah, he's a badass. It's a robbery without some corpses. It's so graphic. Like I said, I'm super happy with this design, also because how smooth. Usually when we design bosses, there's a lot of iteration going on. Like we try out stuff and we realize that it sucks and we have to change it. But with it, even though there were some, like we had to change some stuff, some planned stuff got moved around. Overall, the whole process of designing this boss was super smooth, and I think it turned out like the difficulty of it all, just the way the mechanics work. I think they're super fair. Like if you die, it's only because you messed up yourself. Overall, I'm just super happy. Also, and all the details in all the backgrounds breaking more and more. That wasn't even supposed to be. That wasn't planned from the start. It was just I was sitting on a Saturday night or something, and I figured I'm just gonna try to do some experiments because I know Vilja had mentioned it, that it would be cool if like the banners would get destroyed when they threw their swords. But that we should definitely add that as a like post-production last polish type of thing. But it just got me really excited, so I just started messing around with it, and it looked so good that I just kept doing it. And the way I see it, if I hadn't done that, because it was on like late on a Saturday, if I hadn't done what could be considered like pointless work or unnecessary work, I wouldn't have done anything at all, probably. I would probably just end up like watching a movie or something. So whoa. More stuff to look at. I love this part as well. Just reading all the notes, and like I said, just I don't want to call it unnecessary lore. I don't know what to call it. Just the lore that's not about the main story, that pushes the main story forward. I mean, I guess you just call it lore. Lore, probably, that's what it is, right? Lore is stuff that's not important, but, or is it? I don't know. Sort of lies. Yeah, that's a good word for it. Flesh. I know in Sweden, in some like pen and paper circles, we called it fluff. But maybe that's just like a super internal thing. Like stuff like this is brilliant. I don't think any of us have actually played. I played World of Warcraft though, back in like vanilla. I played like a trial version up to level 20, and then I enjoyed it. Like I thought it was a good game, so I bought the game for like $60, and then I never even installed the full version. I just ended up doing something else. I don't think William and Teddy ever played World of Warcraft either. I think it's just a coincidence. I played a lot of Warcraft 3 though, so I know who the Lich King is and all that. So what's his name? Arthas? Yeah. There's also like it's Bag's little comments, as if he knows what happened because he was actually there. I think that's super cool too. Yeah, probably. I did play I played a lot of Ragnarok Online, which consumed a lot of time of my life. But brought like a lot of like Secrets of Grindea draws huge inspiration from Ragnarok Online, so we should probably thank it for consuming our teen years. I don't think I mean we have the cards. The cards are a tribute, even though the card they work differently. So I mean the only likeness is that there are both cards, but they have completely different roles within the games. But the cards are definitely like a tribute to Ragnarok. Other than that, I mean the whole game, the game premises itself is a huge like nod to Ragnarok. Like the grinding, it all comes from us spending hundreds of hours in Ragnarok grinding. So I don't think we have any like proper Ragnarok references actually. Yeah, maybe, but that's where we got the inspiration from, at least for us. Oh, what am I doing? Good night, G-Meister. Yeah, exactly. The pictures are also. I love that about Ragnarok, that you could inspect the cards and like find cool pictures. Here we are. This is the end. Fuck you guys. Okay, so we're reaching the end here. This sweet animation. Yeah, the bonus stage is finished. Woohoo! I think this is pretty funny though. Okay. Whoa! Got through it! The entire thing! And I didn't do any like side questing or anything. And I still played for what? Almost 4 hours. Shit. Although like I talked some, like I paused the game at some point and just ended up talking, but that's still a decent playthrough, man. This game, it's crazy to think about. It took me 4 hours, and I know the game inside out pretty much. Although I tend to forget things, but still, it's getting pretty huge. It's cool to see. Like it's actually starting to feel like a real game, because I mean it's always, of course it's always felt like a real game, but it just we're starting to be able to like see the end of the tunnel. That was a good choice. That was a goddamn good choice. Man, it's super late here. I'm just gonna close it down. But this has been super cool, guys. Big shout out to everyone. If anyone stayed with me the entire playthrough. I hope it's been interesting. The side quests part of the completion. Yeah, side quests are part of the completion percentages, and like everything, finding all the items, getting all the cards and stuff like that. Still only 27%. It's wicked. A big shout out to you, Elenis. That's super cool of you. But yeah, this is gonna be the last stream of the year for me. I'm gonna go home. I'm going home to visit my parents on Tuesday, super early, and then I'm gonna be back, I think 2nd or 3rd of January. So the next time we're gonna talk, it's gonna be 2016. Crazy. But it's been a great year for us. I think production has been going really well, so I hope you all will keep supporting us during 2016, and hopefully we'll be by the end of 2016. While I definitely don't think we'll be finished, but we'll be much closer. It's gonna be cool. But yeah, I really need to go catch some sleep before I fucking pass out in my chair. So thanks again. I'll see you guys next year. Bye bye, my sweet friends.